Throughout media and fiction in general, there have always been plenty of great archer characters. Robin Hood, Green Arrow, Hawkeye, Katniss, Legolas, the list goes on. But how many of those archers has a protruding wolf-like form coming out of their crotch? That's right, only IRVINE. So let's learn about this legendary warrior and member of the new Band of the Hawk. IRVINE is an apostle, and in this edition of the Monster Manual, we are going to be taking a specific look at him as a character. So if you're new here and don't know what an apostle is in Berserk, check out my other video on them first, link is in the description below. And also maybe hit the subscribe button or notification bell. Just imagine, your computer mouse is like your bow, and hitting the subscribe button is like hitting a bullseye with the arrow. Or if you're watching on your phone, it's like, I don't know what it's like. You don't have to sub if you don't want to. It would just be really cool. Anyway, like most of the apostles in the new Band of the Hawk, we haven't gotten a full-fledged backstory on them. So, as to who IRVINE was as a human or who he sacrificed for greater power, all that is still unknown. But he fully corners that strong, silent type demeanor. I think the most telling sign we get about him and his personality, or a glimpse into what he may have been like in his human days, is a small scene between him and Sonya around a campfire. IRVINE sits by himself playing a lute, and he's asked if he's lonely. He explains that he is a hunter. Of course, he doesn't mention anything about a hunter exam, so I don't know if he has the license to prove it. But he also says that he feels calmer alone, that he can spend days in the forest and lose track of time in the process, that he is comforted by this, and that in stalking his prey, he feels at one with the beast within him. I would like to think that this was the driving force within him as a human before becoming an apostle, a man who spent most of his time isolated, calm, stoic, and hunting animals in the woods, a man who lived off-grid and took care of himself and everything else alone, a man so isolated that perhaps he could easily view himself just like the animals of nature, kill or be killed, and perhaps this is what led him to believe becoming an apostle was the right choice. Embracing his inner beast, perhaps not too dissimilar to Guts' own beast of darkness that we've seen in the manga. But again, who or what he sacrificed is left up to speculate. IRVINE is first seen in chapter 192, called The War Demons. It's interesting to note that he is the last major apostle in the new Band of the Hawk to be introduced, as Locust, Grunbeld, and Raxus were all shown in the earlier chapters pledging their loyalty to Griffith before this one. IRVINE has a much more subtle, if you can call it that, introduction when he fires several arrows into Kushan soldiers who have been taking over Midland. As we see him, right from the get-go, we see that he has a thin or average build with pure white eyes and a bow that looks absolutely demonic. Actually, to me, his bow kind of reminds me of Soul Edge from the Soul Calibur games, but that's mostly due to the giant eye that's on it. There is a likelihood that his bow is actually part of him and contributes to his transformation into a full-fledged apostle. And IRVINE's full apostle form is where things get, interesting. So his body remains slender and humanoid, but gets covered with fur, and he gets protruding claws and fangs. Oh, there's something else that's protruding too. You could call this the biggest flex in all of Berserk.
What is it, son?
I don't know, sir. But it looks like a giant
Dick!
Yeah.
Take a look out of starboard.
Oh my god, it looks like a huge...
Pecker!
Where IRVINE's schlong should and would be, instead he enhances it into a full-blown four-legged wolf. Yeah, and the wolf portion has a furry mane around it as well. At least I hope he keeps it well washed. The front of the wolf has one eye directly in the center, which resembles IRVINE's bow, which is why I said the bow may as well be a part of him and contributes into that full transformation into apostle. As well, the wolf segment acts as his bow in this form. Its horns are like the limbs, with the smaller horn in the center acting as the riser. Also in this form, IRVINE uses his own hair as his arrows, basically giving him an unlimited supply as he can just pluck away for continued ammunition. As I've said, IRVINE is stoic, and unlike many apostles, he doesn't seem to boast or flaunt his strength or abilities. He mostly sits on the sidelines until he is called into action, and he doesn't partake in unnecessary brutality. When apostles in the Band of the Hawk were giving a human boy Mule a hard time, IRVINE shot an arrow and intervened, knowing that Mule was a guest to Griffith and soon to be a new member of the Band of the Hawk. Yet still, IRVINE kept his distance. This, along with him showing a few moments of care for the character Sonya, might lead us to think that Irvine has a soft spot for younger people. I don't know if I'd go so far as to call Mule and Sonya kids. They're probably like 14, 15, so teenage years. Plus, during this time period of Berserk, that's pretty much grown enough to go to war and die in combat, but still there could be some truth there to Irvine looking to younger people and falling into that kind of protector role. I guess you could say Irvine is simply protecting members of the Band of the Hawk regardless of age, or the fact that they're human, but it's up to us to interpret. As far as his powers and abilities go, first, Irvine has all the standard power boosts that an apostle would get. He has the enhanced strength, speed, and healing. Of course, his specific skill is his marksmanship. He is a long-range fighter, and in that, he's the best the series has shown thus far. His precision with arrows, even just in his human form, show that they always hit their mark. And it's not just like getting hit with an arrow from a regular human. When Irvine's arrows hit you, they can literally decapitate you on impact with the sheer speed and force from which they are fired. It's like a friggin' shotgun blast to the face, but in the form of an arrow. He is also capable of firing multiple arrows at the same time at multiple opponents, so he can decapitate several people with a single shot from his bow. Also, like mentioned before, while in his apostle form, Irvine can pluck a hair from his own body, which turns into its own arrow, and then can fire that arrow from the horns of the apostle body, which are of course even faster and more powerful than his regular arrows. In a recent chapter, these arrows from the hair of his tail were shown to be even more destructive upon hitting their target, as the hair can then unravel and grow like thorns through a person's entire body. Of course, in the series it happens to a cockatrice, not a person, and I won't need to say anything about the irony of Irvine's look shooting an arrow into a character that's a cock. Anyway, if you are a poor, unfortunate soul that winds up needing to battle Irvine, you would be in for a heap of trouble. Once again, Irvine fights long distance, so he would probably sneak up on you before you even knew he was there. You would need to be able to reach him in order to take him down. I have no idea how you would accomplish this unless you have some crazy speed enhancement of your own in your back pocket, but once face to face, your safest bet would be to prevent him from firing his arrows. But then if he transforms into his apostle form, he will be several times faster, and now his body is his arrows. I'm sure Guts' Dragon Slayer would be able to wound him and cut him in half, but you would need to be fast enough to hit him. Other than that, he has the standard weaknesses of any apostle. He can be cut and he can be wounded, it just takes a lot of great force and a lot of great strength. Mostly, you're just gonna die. It's yet to be shown just how much magic can harm apostles, but if you could conjure a fire elemental perhaps, you may be able to catch Irvine's fur on fire, and in this case he would be busy trying to put it out, while you could come in for a killing strike. But again, you'd have to be really lucky to pull this off. All in all though, Irvine, the Arcane Archer, is no doubt one of the most interesting members of the new Band of the Hawk, and definitely one of the better apostles introduced post-Conviction arc in the series of Berserk. Let me know what you think about Irvine as a character. Put all your thoughts and theories of him down below. What do you think of him? What do you think of his personality, his attitude, his relationship to the human characters in the Band of the Hawk? And what do you think will happen in the final showdown with the new Band of the Hawk, including Irvine versus Guts' group? Let me know all that down in the comments. Other than that, guys, thank you a lot for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. Check out the other Monster Manual videos if you will. Beyond that, give this video a like, comment, subscribe if you want to stick around. Other than that, I'll talk to you in the next video.